especially the mentors and the trainers. Let me start this with a small story of a young boy who is born in a small village in southern India. He is caught up in this middle class mediocrity, and he really wanted to excel and really wanted to come out of the limitations and the constraints that he has been seeing. From there, being educated in the local language and not in English, to be able to reach to one of the country's pride, the equivalent of MIT in India, IIT, and from there, raised to the ranks of CEOs, CXOs, to becoming the advisor to the government of Andhra Pradesh or the government of the country. All the way from there, coming to the world's most prestigious university called MIT Sloan, and standing in front of you is Rajiv Vaisar. This is my story. I'm sure there are many like us who have the ambition to fly, who have the wings to soar high. But if only we have that word of encouragement, if only we have that strength of support and voice of guidance, I'm sure we would reach much higher places in much shorter time. Well, by the grace of God, I have those mentors. But I'm sure there are many smart people, much better than me, who are still stuck in that mediocrity because they don't have access to the right mentors and they are trying to reinvent the wheel again and again. And that's where House of Mentors comes into picture, because our desire is if only one knows how to harvest the entire wisdom in the world and avoid the reinventions of wheel, the world would be a better place. In fact, that's what Avatar movie shows us. When the lead character was in trouble, he goes to the tree, he connects himself there, and then gets mentoring. In fact, this mentorship and guidance is not new. It is as old as Jesus Christ discipling his 12 disciples who have changed the world upside down. Do you agree? Absolutely, right? So our mission is to help individuals to achieve their goals through personalized mentor-led growth. Now, what's the problem statement? We have, at one point of time, the young, ambitious, I would say, professionals, students, entrepreneurs who really want to make big life, who are encountered with problems, who know that there are solutions that are available and somebody would have already solved the problem, but they do not know whom and how to approach with right authority and validation. On the other hand, we have people of great wisdom who really want to give it back to the community, to the society, because they have already accomplished and made it big. So we have done our own customer survey, and that is Mr. Prem Shankar, 32-year-old, 12 years experience, and then he's an engineer, aspires to become an entrepreneur, but never takes that plunge because he doesn't know where to begin, how to begin, and where to move. While on the other hand, we have Indra Singh, who is a 45-year-old vice president at Pant Labs Limited, accomplished professional, worked across the industries as well as in startups, and he loves to mentor. But then both of them need a correct, both of them need a validation, and that's exactly what the House of Mentors does. Well, it is definitely a noble cause, but we strongly believe that any business would only be sustainable when we bring the element of money into it. And when we looked at the market size and potential opportunity it has got, oh man, the market size is a $5 billion market. It is expected to be there with a CAGR of 14% by 2030. Then we also looked at the competition, trying to understand why, if such is a problem which is so persistent, not many are solving. And to our surprise, there are many players who are solving the problem. Despite that, only 11% are using this particular solutions. That means we have still 89% of untapped market fresh. The reports also say that the same professional with right guidance has an opportunity to boost his career ambitions and his goals by at least 40%. So what is our differentiation? In the era of generative AI, that is where we would like to leverage the technology in bringing the mentor and mentee together through a right personalized matchmaking. We track and monitor their progress, we optimize their journey, and we help them reach their goal. How do we do that is what we're going to explain. But before that, we also have a very simplified, we do not want to, being House of Mentors, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We have a very simplified business model. Our model is, it starts with freemium of 2 free sessions where the mentors and mentee interact with one another and set the goals. Once the goals are set and locked by the mentor and mentee, that is when the premium services of per session charges begin. And we are, just like Uber, thanks to Uber for building up the model already, we just take 20% of the sessions as commission fees for us. And of course, we also give a lot of opportunities for programs such as MIT TGM to advertise themselves on the House of Mentors if they really want their professionals to grow. So that's the other revenue model that we are already building. Now, in terms of our business roadmap, we wanted to focus our first 6 months on number one, onboarding the mentors across different functions, be it technical, business, management, consulting, operations, etc. Once the mentors and their profiles are curated and created, that is when we would launch the product and start onboarding the mentees. And our mentee onboarding is not a typical, I would say, digital marketing onboarding. Of course, we would use that, but it is a content-driven acquisition. And from there, the platform builds, and then the commissions come in, and then the revenues come in. Now, the team consists of a centuries, I would say, experience put together. We are experts from different parts of the country across different cross functions, but what is one thing that is common to all of us is the MIT Sloan School of Management. So with this, we are House of Mentors in front of you. Our ask and our proposed spend is going to be into operational costs, ads and marketing, full tech stack development, mentee onboarding, and mentor onboarding. And how do we do it? This is the customer journey for us. The mentee enters with the intent, and he grows with achieved goals, and he continues to either become a mentor or continues to be a mentee. With this is the team of House of Mentors. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity given to us. We are open to your valuable questions and funds too. Thank you.
All right, thank you for a wonderful, very well prepared presentation. I do have a handful of questions. First, how much money do you have?
We are looking to raise around.
Our estimate is to start with a fund of $250,000 to develop the platform for onboarding the staff. That's the cost that we look at, because the revenue will start after 1 year. So we have to sustain the first year. Second year we start getting the revenue, but we will not be able to break even. So that's the period that we're looking at, $250,000.
So $250,000 to get you through 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm already looking at a team of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. Is $250,000 going to do it for 7 people?
7 people will not be full-time on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not go down that path. I just want to call that out.
I'm the only one who's going to quit the job and work full-time on this.
Oh, I love that.
Others are going to
That's awesome. I think that is something really important to consider, though, because if you're asking for money, you have to pay yourself, right?
Yes.
No investor wants you worried about how you're going to pay the bills if you're going to go and actually make this happen.
Yeah, and we have actually already started building the platform. We have already onboarded 30 mentors in 1 week. So this is not just talks. This is a reality which we have already established.
Wow. Okay. That should be in the presentation. That, what you just said,
Yes.
I'm thinking, I could go through all my notes right here, but I think the most important thing is that you could go and get $250,000 to go build out a product, but there's a lot that you can do to test this out in the short term, right? Without any product, with a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group or whatever to connect people. What you just said, that helps me to build a lot of confidence in you all as a team and your ability to go and do everything that you just presented to us. What you just said, that should be, slide number 2. The problem and the solution, here's the progress we've already made. Here's why you should believe everything else that we tell you here in this presentation. Congratulations on that. I think that's a big accomplishment.
We built the video as well in the initial stages. We showed you the video, but we
Okay, cool. I think one of the biggest thing that I'm going to leave you with is I do still feel like you are trying to tackle something that is extremely broad. Your problem statement even refers to it as people, right? What kind of people, right? A lot of people need mentors, right? But you've got to specialize somewhere. You've got to have some specificity going into it. what is the beachhead market? Where are you gonna start? How are you gonna find focus in the really early days? What are the commonalities amongst those first 30 people where you can win? Because you can expand from there, but you do have to start somewhere somewhat small and find some further definition. I'm gonna leave it there and I'm gonna pass it to Susan.
Okay, great job, thank you, and, interesting idea, and definitely feels like there's some, a business that has potential, because I do believe in mentorship, and I think there is a need. I guess what I would say, and that's why I'm excited to hear you actually have something built, that's what I was missing, right? I get excited about, the actual product. I kind of want that visual, right? I want to, what does it look like? Now I have an idea based on just your description, but if it's an app, we're telling a lot of the students, you want us to almost show a phone and say, well, this is what it's going to look like. And how does it match the people? Does it ask questions, or I'm just curious, what does the mentee or the mentor have to put into it to make that match work, right? So I guess what I am left with is more curiosity about the product itself. I do agree, when you're saying you've signed up mentors or mentees, it's more, I think you need to narrow that down. Is the mentor in India and the mentee in the US, is that gonna work? Maybe not, but how are you addressing, particularly early on, your pilot, right? I want more specific, specific, you didn't even say the word, but more specifics around that, just how that would look, because that's how you're gonna really prove that this works, and what your metrics will be. How are you gonna determine if this is successful or not? And then the last thing is the 20%. It wasn't clear to me how, I know it's, free upfront, but then what the business model, the mentor is charging, I guess, the mentee, and you're taking 20% of that. And what are your assumptions in terms of this a 6-month gig, once a week, or, I want to make sure I understand too what the business financials look like and what your assumptions are.
So let me take you through the journey. So when we already have the mentors, that's our major focus of onboarding the mentors. When the mentee comes in, he is definitely guided by the questionnaire on what is he for, what is his educational background, where he wants to achieve, what is it that he wants to achieve in life. Maybe he's an AI engineer or a data scientist or probably a biotechnologist, we do not. So based on his, inputs that are gathered, the AI that is there in this particular product will identify the mentor in that particular sector and then connects both of them to them. Now this is where the first level of matchmaking happens. Once that happens, there is a one-hour session of 2 each, where the mentor and mentee are connected, and as per their calendars and then the time slots, a meeting is adjusted between both of them. And in the first interaction, it is more about knowing each other better. And by the second interaction, the mentor and mentee should be able to set up what the goal of the mentee is. I want to be a VP, say for example in 5 years, or I want to start up in the next 4 years into this particular technology. He doesn't know whatsoever. So he defines that particular goal. As per the particular goal, the entire journey of 3 to 6 months of interaction between the mentor and mentee, the scheduled calendar is blocked between both of them. And each of the session, the amount of what we charge, we haven't yet decided. Let us assume that it is X dollars, that is what we are going to charge. And in that transaction, 20% of that particular is our commission. That's the broad level of it.
Okay. Yeah, so, obviously in a shorter way, but that's great information. Would love to get that somehow in here, because it wasn't clear to me you're gonna dictate what the charge is, right? Versus I assumed you were gonna let the mentor decide. So anyway, some of that, I think you don't have a lot of time, but you want to get me excited that you thought through all that and what the questions are, and what the product is.
Yeah.
This is the website that we had launched, and then we used our LinkedIn networks to encourage people to register as mentors, and that's where we got the registration of 30 mentors across.
Yeah, and then based on your question on how the market segment, so we have not gone in all the market segments, so we have categorized that, and we have categorized the location that we're going to target our beachhead customers, not going across market segment, so that's where how we target start small and keep on building those capabilities in the future.
So I also like the idea, and I really like your go-to-market strategy and the specificity and the thoughtfulness behind it. It's a two-sided platform, right? Like you learn, and you got to figure out how you're going to get there, which is more difficult, but ultimately much more easy to protect once you get there. And I believe in your approach to getting the mentors first, then the mentees. My skepticism about it, if I was kind of funding you, I would come back to you and say, I think you're giving money to people who don't need money, who don't want money. I think you're giving away money that you don't have to. And I would challenge your business model in two directions. Number one, be much more specific. I think that there's probably in the Boston area a lot of retired CFOs that would love the chance and give away their time just to stay involved in the game, to advise new CFOs and startup companies. And you could monetize that in a variety of ways, but you wouldn't need to give them money. My challenge to you, and this is something that you would test through prototypes, is to go out and prove to me that you need to give away that money as opposed to keep it yourself, right? And that you have the right business model, and it's not something where there's a number of other things that if you help that startup CFO, that there's a number of other ways to monetize that in a way that could ultimately be more lucrative. So my challenge to you would be the business model. And also to, I would start with local. I think this is not an online business. This is something where people need to sit down across from each other over a meal and really talk about, what are the issues. I need to look you in the eye to trust you. And so I would look at, startup CFOs in the Boston area, and be very specific. Show me that it works. Show me that you got the right business model and launch from there. So that's a challenge to you. What's your response to that? Why have you chosen
Yeah,
Amazon?
so we had a lot of deliberation, and what you say is one of the points that we had looked at. In Maslow's hierarchy, self-actualization is shown as the peak experience, but we realize more and more that for the professionals, the peak experience is not self-actualization, but it's self-transcendence. They want to give it back to people, and we definitely want to tap that need. So it's a need on the part of the mentors. The reason why we have said about the payment model here is that we don't want to compromise on the quality of mentorship. In case someone needs that, we will have it. As our plans are further, we had also used that the profit percentage of that will be used for scholarships for the deserving mentees. As you suggested, we had not considered face-to-face meetings, but probably that can be sponsored for the right candidates, and we can spend money for that too.
So one comment, and again, this is meant to be educational, not critical. But if I was a VC, you've already answered a question, and if you had turned that over to somebody else in your team and let somebody else answer it, your team would come across more strong to me, right? As a more complete team. And so it's just for all of us to think about as we're making these types of presentations, to show that you are a team with a diverse set of, and said, the person best equipped to answer that is Peter, because Peter has done our work on business model, and turned it over to Peter. You look like a stronger team, and I'm more likely to fund a stronger team.
I think we need to move on to the next team.
Thank you.